But they kept coming back to me and coming back to me and going, this is great, but like, what does Dave Young Kim want to do? Like, what do you want to do?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Boarding Pass. I am your pilot, Denzel Whitaker, joined by.
Your co-pilot, Jayden Choi.
Look at this guy. Look at him. Oh my God, we look like we're going to a game today. I should have brought my pint of beer. What up, man?
I know, I know. I'm giving a little hint to you guys out as well, like by what I'm wearing. It may look like a soccer themed sports podcast today, which is not, but this is a hint.
Can you figure out the clues that we're giving you? All right,
Drum
time's
roll.
up. Listen, time's up. The reason why we are dropping these clues is we have such a wonderful guest today. One of the busiest men. We've been trying to track down his schedule. From Korea, yes?
Yes, he has a Korean background, and he is currently actually a very big deal in his scene. And we're very ready to actually ask him about him and hear his stories.
Well, come on, man. Do the check-in. Let's get it started.
Yes, sir.
Look,
Like
look
you
at him. He's
just
bursting
heard.
at the seams right now.
Da da da. His name is Dave Young Kim. His nationality is USA, but he has a Korean heritage. Occupation: award-winning muralist, curator, and founder of Korean American Artist Collective, which is also called KAAC, KAAC. And a fun fact: David painted a mural honoring his aunt, Yu Kwan-sun, who at 17 led a demonstration for Korean independence in 1919. If you are Korean, if you have a Korean background, you would immediately know this name, just so you know. Whoever doesn't know about this lady's name, Yu Kwan-sun, she's one of the biggest independent activists in Korea, and she was basically our national hero because her courage, her power, her sacrifice was the reason why Korea became free and independent.
Oh,
So
wow.
just hearing this fun fact like made me immediately want to go dive into this episode right now and ask him about this.
This is incredible. Well,
I
listen.
know.
I could already feel the spirit through this video camera right now. Welcome to the Inspo Lounge. We want to bring him to the stage. Dave Kim, come on out, brother.
Woo!
How you doing?
Look at this guy.
Hey.
Hi.
Look at this guy. All right, first question. What beard oil do you use? No, I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Welcome. How you doing?
Great, great. Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. No, thank you
Thanks
for
for being
being
here with
here.
us.
Yeah.
Listen, this I might have to jump in the co-pilot seat right now because I know Jayden has a lot of questions, but I know this is going to resonate deeply with him and the community. So, listen, we just want to dive right in. All right, Jayden, you want to take it away?
Yeah, Dave, first of all, it's very a big honor for me as well because initially it was my wife who actually found your artworks out, and she just sent me a bunch of stuff on Instagram like, look at this artwork, this is great, and I was like, let me see, he's perfect for our show. Let me reach out to him, and you were so kind. You were just like just so down to earth and like ready to just talk to us, and I'm very appreciating of that. And just leading up from the fun fact you gave us, can you tell us a little more about that if you're okay with it?
My history of my aunt, my family.
Yes, your aunt and the artwork you just did it mentioned.
Yeah, my grandfather's mom is Yu Yedo, and her father is brothers with Yu Gonsun's father. So they're first cousins, and I didn't really know about this history till I was about maybe 20. So I found out. I was really excited about it, and I'd randomly walk up to Koreans and go, "Hey, do you know who Yu Gonsun is?" Because I was trying to understand this for myself, like how iconic and legendary this person was. And every random Korean I'd talk to would immediately know who she was.
I would love to hear your point of view of like the artwork you made for her, like on behalf, to show her her work. I mean, whatever she did, and I just want to hear what it means for you personally as well.
So basically, the relationship is they're first cousins. So Korea was occupied by Japan at the time, and the whole entire country was rising up against this occupation and trying to fight for their independence. and they lived in a small village. And so this is for context. And then my direct great grandmother was older, so she and her younger cousin Yu Gansun went to instigate this demonstration, and then so they were protesting, and then there were Japanese military police there, and then on site, both her parents were shot and killed, and then she was arrested. And then my direct great grandmother went on the run. She went hiding. She would I have there's a lot of family stories about her like hiding in like church organs, like churches organs have like big cavernous like spaces for the pipes. And so she like kind of like Anne Frank, she would like hide from the Japanese. And then whereas Yu Gansin went to prison and then she was tortured and then eventually died of her injuries. So that's the context. I was not born in Korea, so I was born in the US. And so history was not like it was just gleaned. Anyhow, I didn't really know and understand. I'm sure I was told this, but I didn't really understand it till I was like in my 20s, and it was starting to marinate for a while. And then when I was in Oakland at the time, and then a restaurant asked me to do a mural, and they kind of left it up to me to do what I wanted. And this history is new to me, and it was very exciting. And so I took the opportunity. It was a massive mural. It was like 130 feet by like maybe 25 feet tall. And I kind of told her story in the imagery.
That's so interesting because, like, let me speak from the context of an African American, right? I only have in my family history but so many years that we can trace back. Whereas, like, somewhere like Korea, there's years upon years that you can trace back. And like you already, said, was being occupied by the Japanese at the time. Now, for you to be born in America and to hear about this in your 20s, right? And then to now have this task of, the honor of basically painting something for your family heritage. Does that make you nervous? What is that expectation? Is that feels like that would be a massive weight on your shoulder, but also such an incredible prestigious honor. Can you just kind of talk about that feeling of what it was just completing that piece of artwork?
Yeah, I think I think you never know how it's going to hit, but the response from the community is amazing. I mean, as Jayden, as you can see, Jayden's pretty. He felt a resonance, a connection to the story without even seeing it in person. So
Absolutely.
yeah, you just never know. And then I think you see how the community reacts, and at that point, I think in terms of how I feel or the weight of it, yeah, there's a sense of pride. It definitely inspires me in different ways. In terms of feeling, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. The weight. I don't feel pressure. I think it's my craft. It's what I do, and so it's a way I express myself. I'm not a writer. I'm not a speaker per se, but
Hmm.
I can tell stories through imagery. And
This is your
so,
way. Yeah.
yeah, so
What a
Um,
gift.
yeah,
What an
speaking of
absolute
that
gift.
though, you just said like you're not a speaker, you're not a writer. Was it always on a form of art this way? Like what was let's put it this way. What was your departure for your current artistic journey? Like how did you get involved with painting and art in the first place?
yeah, so I've been doing art since I was a kid. I had ADHD, which I still do, and I had like when I was a kid, I was hyperactive, and I was diagnosed. So my doctor like recommended medication, but in Asian cultures, there's sort of a taboo against medication. So my mom put me in every activity possible, as you can imagine, like piano, like sports, violin, nothing connected. And then sports, I was born in December, so I was always the youngest kid, so I was not quite coordinated. And then one day she put me in an art class, and I think I was like, 4 or 5 at the time, and it just hit, like it connected. And I asked her like, can I go back? And I was good at it. I was really good. So I had like a natural talent. So, and it became, something like a part of my identity. I think a lot of things we do now is based on like the praise and sort of the positive affirmation we got when we were kids. So I was good. I won like first place trophies and like contests and stuff. And then she continually put me in art classes, and it just became something, with any talent, you have the benefit of like of the talent, the skill set early on, but you got to always keep working at it, right? So I was in classes throughout my life. As I went into like adolescence and I got kind of involved in other things and sidetracked, of course, because like social scene's more important at that point. And
We
then
all do.
yeah, yeah, right. And then college as well. And then, but I ended up getting an art degree, and then and later on, I ended up doing getting my MFA. So, but that's sort of the path. Yeah, it was always there. I was never sure I was going to do it professionally. I actually did not think I was going to do it professionally until way after college.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't go to grad school for like 10 years after undergrad. So, and that's really I made the decision to like really try it out professionally. So.
So, reflecting upon your parents like pouring that into you and then now you being a father and I'd imagine doing the same for your children. Just talk about what that means, just to pour into your children.
Yeah, I think it's important to just support what they're doing. I think when they're younger, you're trying to just understand what they're interested in. And I think in terms of fate and destiny, I didn't have the pressure from my parents to do anything in terms of like being a doctor, a lawyer, kind of something you typically see from Asian parents. I think it started with something how they were brought up, and then they afforded me the freedom and my mom somehow the foresight to not just throw drugs on me and put me in these classes and then continue to do that, right? Listen to me and then like support that. I think maybe you might appreciate this, Jayden, but like Korean families don't see a lot of value in art or especially as a career. So, maybe in another life or with different parents, they might have not supported that. They might have not, and I would have not ever had the ingrained sort of positive reinforcement that allowed me to in the future, decide to take that step, right? So yeah, there is definitely destiny and fate and luck that's all involved in there. Even immigrating to this country, right? That I had nothing to do with that, right? Just the fact that I was raised in America and had these opportunities and different cultural values that allowed for a space to do that. But I think, now that I have my own kids and I had the benefit of having parents that were supportive in that way, I can be way more intentional and be more supportive and observant.
It's compared to American culture in general. Art is a very hungry job, and not a lot of people appreciate art job. Well, they actually do a little more these days in Korea, because like the country is generally is growing, but in even when I was growing up, it wasn't like the best job. Obviously, like all the Korean parents wanted like their children to be doctors or lawyers or in those
I'd,
respected.
I'd
Um,
have to imagine, and not me to step in here, but it has something to do with like prestige or either like job security or, like financial abundance. Is that something that's, like a recurring theme, the reason why that's like a cultural pressure?
I would say so, right, Dave?
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. It's they were immigrants, they struggled, they faced a lot of challenges, they had to start from scratch. I think they don't want the same for their own progeny, right? They want something different, they want them to find success. They don't want them to struggle and face the same challenges. So they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you being an artist is not easy. I mean, they're not wrong.
Ah,
They're
who
not
you
wrong.
telling?
Yeah, we're all artists here.
Denzel,
We all, we
Denzel.
all,
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're all artists. It ain't
yeah, we
easy.
know
But we
for
love it.
sure.
We couldn't imagine doing anything else on
Right,
this earth,
exactly.
right?
But they're not wrong in thinking that it's going to be a challenge. You need a certain amount of grit to actually, right, to get to that point of success. There's so many points where you want to quit. It's not like you go into an office and you just get paid automatically. You got to find the money and you got to chase it, and then you got to work to keep that going, sustaining it. So yeah, it is. It's exactly about that, Denzel. Like that sustainability. That it's something. It's not very lucrative.
You've got the going against the beaten path, so to speak, or going against the normal path. Let me ask you this though, because like good journalists, we have to scrub your social media. We got to go through as if we're going on a first date, right? Why in your bio do you have perpetual outsider? As a son of immigrants, what does that mean for you? Why do you write that?
I don't. It's just how I feel. Yeah. I feel like well, growing up had weird culture that no one really understood. So as a kid you really feel that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but were you raised in Koreatown?
I was, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, what was that experience? Because I know like Koreatown is so concentrated. and actually quite a large part of the Los Angeles city. You know, when you think about like kind of the different factions or groups within LA, like Koreatown is very densely populated. Did that at least help, you know, with the transition being a firstborn?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. Definitely found community. It's a bubble though, right? So then you find community within your bubble, but once you exit that, but that bubble's in the context, which is, basically a world that's predominantly Caucasian, right? So at some points I wanted to be white too. I was like, maybe life would be easy. I don't know. In my little kid head, something like logic was like maybe if I'm just white, it'd be, I don't know. It's just what I'm seeing on TV and life would be easier or something like that, right? So yeah, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed being in Koreatown, taking in the culture, like understanding what it means to be Korean, finding a sense of pride there. But everything is not black and white, right? It's very complicated. There's so many different forces you're contending with. My dad's telling me, I need to assimilate. My uncle's telling me, don't forget your Korean. I'm seeing all these images on television and media, so I want to be that. But, I'm loving culture. I'm loving the food. I'm loving the language. I love my family. So I know I'm Korean, but then, at school, I'm getting punked by the Latino and Black kids. So, it's just, you're dealing with everything, right?
How did that basically influence your artwork and your understanding of the world? You know, were you open to embracing all different cultures? Do you feel like you can kind of like go into a room and just exist or be, or was it cultural comfort for you for a long extended period of time?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's different for different phases of life, right? So like you're right. At one point there was like Asian pride, Korean pride, so I was into that. And then but then when I got to college, I joined an Asian fraternity because like you said, I gravitated exactly towards what looked like me. But then I also was like, dang, should I have joined like a white fraternity? Because we're kind of like there's a whole Greek system, but we're kind of like the side, like we weren't really part of the main Greek system, and I didn't like that feeling. So I don't know, it was weird. And then, but I think if you see my art now, it's definitely I've come to understand a lot, like at my age, like hopefully, like who I am and how all that's part of the journey and how that all shapes my work. And my work is very much about culture. It's very much about the immigrant story. I mean, you see a lot of Korean motifs and Korean imagery, and it's really my parents' story in a lot of ways. But the core of my work is the human condition. And so, as much as I'm specifically talking about my own culture, I'm trying to distill it down to a form of empathy where we all deal with challenges and in a similar way. Like we all function at a very basic level in the same way. Like we all need love, we all need understanding, we all need like food, water at the most basic level. We all like are born from a woman's womb, like humanity, right? So I think as I'm trying to talk about specific narratives within the immigrant story, I always try to establish like a foundation of the human condition. And I think that's where I'm trying to embrace like everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a much better day these days to live as a Korean, like there has been Parasite, there's BTS. Now we're gonna mention in a little bit, but there's Son Heung-min in America as well. It's we're getting much more highlights, I guess, that we never got before in terms of global phenomenons. And so is it different for you as well, like the current days compared to the when we were growing up? Would you feel it?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just it's just my kids and how like all their friends are talking about like Korean culture, and then they come back with like a sense of pride. You can see it like maybe one of my like my daughters like white friends is like singing like K-pop Demon Hunters, and then my daughter would come back and go, "Yeah, like Emily was singing K-pop Demon Hunters, but she's saying all the Korean words wrong. Like she should sing like this, And she's, it's like a backhanded compliment, it's really cool that she's singing Korean songs, but I'm Korean. I have this pride. I know better than her, right? So it's cool. Like it's cool hearing her talk like that.
That's incredible. You know, one thing that strikes me, and just the way you talk about your children, or even just like I'm looking at the background behind you, I've noticed in a lot of your artwork, it focuses on women, children, and birds. These are like recurring themes that you tend to focus on. And I mean, you have like such beautiful works. We were just kind of scrolling through your past work, and like I remember seeing this image of this young girl holding like a bouquet of flowers on the side of a building, and that for some reason I just had to stop, and it touched me. Can you just sort of just describe, how women, children, and birds kind of became the focus of your art, or how they're like recurring themes, please?
Sure, yeah. Birds, let's start with the easy one. The birds, the recurrent themes, because I think a lot of cultures symbolically have birds as meaningful imagery in their cultures. So in a lot of ways, birds are like an easy stand-in for the humanity and people. So and they're dynamic and they're beautiful and I think they connect well with people. And I'm always trying to find a way to resonate with the viewer, really. So because it's always about the meaning versus even the imagery for me. So
So do you use bird more as like a metaphor personally?
yeah, they're symbolic, they're metaphorically used, yeah, a lot of times, yeah. So yeah, there's and there and culturally there's like symbols just like connected to the birds, like specific symbols, right? So I like to kind of insert that without having to actually paint it just in within the meaning of the imagery. So that's why I like the birds. Women and children, yeah, I like this idea of legacy a lot. I think this idea of passing on, the idea of like children represent hope. And then mother, yeah, my mom, she's just and the women in my life, they've been more influential, and I don't ever imagine I can't ever think of a time when my mom was like, no, I can't do this, or
Hmm.
she's never like denied me anything ever in my life. And I don't know, I think something about that relationship, she's definitely a big reason of where I am today. And I see that symbolically in women. I mean, even with the stories that Yugon Soon, even in that whole historical period in Korea, it was mainly women who led these movements and became the leaders.
That's interesting. Talk about that, like women leading the movement in Korea. Usually you always hear these stories about like men sort of taking over or like, uprising against the regime, but it's fascinating to me, and almost sometimes it really is the hidden truth.
Yeah, it's I as I do a lot of research and in my research it's always women that would come up and be in these photographs like leading these demonstrations. I don't know exactly the history behind why it was always women versus the men. Do you know, Jayden, like what that is?
We always had women involved in every fights that we had to go through, and they were in a huge part as well. And I think that's the biggest part of our history because like it was never just one gender dominant in any way. It was always like both sides like helping each other to kind of grow and fight against whenever we had to.
Yeah, if my mom's any indication of like how strong Korean women are, how fierce they are, yeah, I mean, it might have to do with something about that history about like, everyone needs to kind of pitch in for the country to survive. Something there, I think.
Just to shift gears a little bit, can you talk about the KAAC? How do you pronounce it? Because I know we have the NAACP. Is it the
That's right. You can say it
KAAC?
however you want. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
KAC, but you can say it. I like the double AC. Yeah.
All right. Tell us about it. It's the Korean American Art Collective, correct?
Yeah, Artist Collective. Yeah.
Artist Collective.
Yeah.
When did it start? What does the organization do?
It started during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine approached me, and she's also a parent, and BLM was happening, and we felt helpless. And then, so then she's like, "What can we do? Let's do something. We're as Korean Americans and as artists, what can we do? Because we can't. We're kind of stuck at home with our kids, and we can't really be out there on the street front. So, and then we decided to run an auction, and we gathered we had our few like our circle of Korean American artist friends, but then we kind of just started reaching out to friends of friends and asking for references and recommendations, and we grew like to this band of like Korean American artists, and we ran an auction, and we auctioned off our art, and we raised over $10,000, and we donated it to different BLM organizations. And then that's the genesis of it. We didn't start out as an organization. We started out as just an action. And then we did another one for voting rights when a lot of voting blocks were being disenfranchised during that situation that year. So, and then we raised, I think it was it $14,000 that year. So for that one. So, anyhow, at some point we realized we had a group of artists and we needed to, and we'd empowered ourselves and we've organized to a certain extent. So we decided to organize more formally, and that's when we became the Korean American Artists Collective. And so that's part of our DNA. That's what we do, and that's what we continue to do. But we're also here to just, Korean artists, Asian artists are historically disenfranchised, not very well represented in terms of the larger art world. So, and in terms of resources and representation, so and opportunities. So we're here to provide that band together, create a voice.
For our frequent flyers who wants to like actually want to look into this a little more, whoever's actually artist who wants to be involved with this, how can we find it? Where can we find it?
We're at KAA Collective on Instagram, kaacollective.com on our website, or this is our website. So yeah, you can find us there. And our email is connected to those, so you can reach out that way as well in DMs.
That's incredible. Well, we definitely want to support. We definitely want to be a part of it. Before you get on out of here, one of the things we definitely got to talk about. Drum roll, please. A moment I'm sure listeners and viewers have been waiting for. We got to talk about this commission piece of art. We got to talk about it. Jayden, walk us into it. Come on, man. Slow roll it.
Like we were talking about why I'm wearing this, why I have this jersey on the wall for frequent flyers. If you know, if you're a fan of the sports called soccer, also called football, Son Heung-Min is one of the biggest athlete ever in Asia and Korea, not only Korea, but the Asian culture in general. And he is a mega star. He's currently playing for LAFC, which is in LA, closer to Koreatown where you work. And Dave was the one who did giant mural of him on in a wall of K-Town on Wilshire Boulevard. Is that correct?
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, sure.
Yeah. Please guide us through like what was the journey through that? Like how did it even start? How did someone call you from LAFC or how did that happen?
Yeah, so it was like an Adidas LAFC thing, but they always work through ad companies. So an ad company reached out who was representing them. Yeah, they called me and they said, we're looking at a couple people, but very interested in your story and who you are. And yeah, they reached out and then yeah, we had these conversations. They asked for mock-ups and then it went through this whole approval process like these things go, how they go. First the ad company, then LAFC, and then Adidas, and then Sun himself and his team need to approve it. So we did a couple iterations, and then they liked the final one. Made a few adjustments. Really added sort of a personal touch. Trying to tie in the culture and thinking about just Koreatown and how this mural would really speak to Koreatown, the context, and yeah, and the rest is history.
May it be such a shining example to anybody watching or listening. Just what we passively think is just something that we're casually enjoying or just an expression of ourselves, where it could take you. I mean, when you think about that journey for yourself and even your kids, you know what I mean? Again, like you might see your kids now, like your son playing soccer, or whatever your daughters might be interested in, and just like they're doing something here or there, but what it could lead to. It's so incredible. Just like what do you have as advice to anybody out there right now who's, taking a page out of your book?
Let's see. Yeah, every part of your journey is important. You may not see it now. All the challenges, all the pitfalls, that's all something that's going to help you along the way. So embrace those things as hard as they are and as challenging as they seem. I think I would say the most important skill set is grit and really just kind of picking yourself up and continue to move forward. I think understanding the reality of what's behind around you. So kind of trying to kill that ego. Like if you're not good at one thing, you have to actually be able to see that and be able to understand that you're not good at it so you can work on it, right? It's not like because you're not good, you're like it's game over. There's always an opportunity. You gotta and everyone who starts off great and with that special talent, they have to keep building their skill set. You don't, if you're a 5-year-old prodigy and you're still drawing like that 5-year-old prodigy when you're 20, it's not gonna hit the same, right? You got to keep building that skill set. So, And yeah, find some good people around you to support you. And I guess that's what I tell my kids.
Out of your entire body of work, what's your favorite piece and why? What resonates the most with you?
My favorite piece and why? Probably the one I did a couple years ago at the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. Only because in terms of mural work, there's always something tied to it in terms of like funding or direction, because it's so public and the way they come about, there's usually someone else involved or another party involved, or even a community involved in terms of like pressure, self-pressure that I apply because I want it to resonate really well with the community. So I'll incorporate a lot of that community into the mural. So I'm just explaining this for context. And then like in my studio, I get to make exactly what I want to make because it's just me and the wall, right? There's no audience per se until it goes out into the world. Whereas a mural, it's physically being developed in the world, right? So the Asian Art Museum approached me and they asked me to do a commission mural for them. And I sent them all these mock-ups. And then but because I'm thinking of it as a mural, but they kept coming back to me and going, this is great, but like what does Dave Young Kim want to do? Like what do you want to do? Because that's what we can see. Like they could tell from knowing who I am and my work that that's not like purely what I wanted to do, like a mural that would come out of my studio directly. So anyhow, I had the complete freedom to do a mural the way exactly something I imagined for a long time, and it's like a Korean motif. I mean, it's kind of popular now. It's a tiger and magpie. It's like K-pop Demon Hunters made it popular, but it was
Oh yeah,
a version of
I saw
that
that one.
on a
Hmm.
wall. So
I love that one actually. It's one of my favorites
yeah,
too.
so because of how it came about and how they gave me this complete creative freedom and direction, and it's something I like dreamed of for a long time, but like the opportunity never came up. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
That's incredible. And I always wanted to ask this to a muralist because I remember Michelangelo. They ware talking about him painting the Sistine Chapel, and because of the scale, he would always have to paint up close and then step back and paint up close and step back. For you making such large, beautiful, artwork on the side of a building, you ever just paint somebody's eye or face and then step back and be like, that don't look none like them? You ever had a problem with scale?
Oh yeah, plenty of times, plenty of times. Yeah, so many. The whole mural painting process is a journey. So many mistakes, and yeah, the beauty of painting is that you can always paint over it. You can always fix it. There's never a
Yeah.
point. It's like, it's messed up and that's permanent. Like I can always go back and fix it. So yeah, definitely had to fix a few faces and noses and eyeballs and ears here and there. So
Last question, Dave, for you, because we are we're a paralleling travel show, if that makes any sense. It's a part of our DNA. Do you have any fun travel stories? Have you ever gotten lost somewhere you want to visit? A favorite memory that you've maybe taken with like a family member or a loved one? What's a good travel story for us?
travel story, man. I used to travel a lot when I was younger. I've been to so many countries. I've been to like maybe 30 countries in
Mm-hmm.
my life. Um,
30, you said 30?
Yeah, no, that took me a second. I was like,
yeah.
damn.
Yeah. Part of it was like I guess what's not fair to qualify is I backpack like a entire continents. So
Oh wow.
so
Wow.
so a lot of countries in one go, what I mean, just hopping on trains and then like hitchhiking and then like
I thought
Right
I
there.
traveled a lot
Stop.
until I heard it.
Right. Stop right there. Favorite backpacking story or favorite backpacking journey?
all right, all right. So right after college, a buddy was going to Australia, just graduated college, and then he's like, "Come join me." So then I bought a one-way plane ticket and went over there, and then I found him. I started in Sydney and then ended up in a small beach town called Byron Bay, a beach town called Byron Bay. There's the east coast of Australia. I don't know if you heard of it. It's like I guess it's blown up since, but I guess the funny story is, so I met up with my buddy. He's staying in this hostel. There's tons of hostels because it's a destination for backpackers. There's official hostels and then there's sort of like underground hostels. And he was living in an underground hostel. We're like broke. So what we ended up doing was we worked for the hostel in exchange for room and board. And every day buses would pull in with all these backpackers. And what we would do is wait at the bus station and basically just strike up conversations, random, like we're strangers, and we approach these back roads coming off and strike up random conversations like as strangers and convince them to come stay at these underground hostels because they're underground, so they couldn't advertise.
Hmm.
Oh,
So the only way to bring people over was to actually physically convince them that this is like a legit place. They won't be like nothing bad's gonna happen. It's a fun place. Um,
Nothing's gonna happen. It's a fun place. You're like a club promoter.
like a club. And that was our existence for a while. For like we lived there, we kicked it there for like months and just lived like that. And it was so fun. It was so fun. We just like meet new random people, like young people from like the whole world, and bring them over to this hostel. And then like basically our job, because we convinced them to come and sold them a certain thing, we had to create that world for them. So we had to host them and like, made sure like the party was there for them. Uh,
Wow.
but
that's
yeah,
definitely the first one we heard.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
yeah. So that was a fun time. We later on went to New Zealand and I went to Papua New Guinea on that trip too. Uh,
Wow,
so it was like a year abroad, like just living like that right after college.
that's awesome.
Man, in your lifetime, what an incredibly rich life that you've lived. Can totally tell you're a devoted father to your family, to just your entire heritage, your legacy. Dave, what an excellent representation of what it means to live your life through art and truly, truly flourish in it. Thank you so much for your time. We've taken too much of your time, but this is such a pleasure and honor to have you here on the show, to have you here in the Inspo Lounge, and to hear your stories. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I'll give you more of my time. I enjoyed being with you guys, and I can chat forever with you guys.
For real.
Well, listen, and invite us out to a KAAC event, please. I'm gonna keep calling it that from now on. and invite us out to an event. We would love to show up. Maybe we could do something then. But truly, it's been an honor to have you on the show. Jayden, do you have anything to say, my brother?
Thanks for sharing everything you just did, and we are very, very inspired by you. And I'm very hopeful that our frequent flyers in our Inspo Lounge would be also very, very inspired as well. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. All right, everybody, frequent flyers, you already know what it is. Again, I am your pilot, Denzel Whitaker, joined by...
Your co-pilot, Jayden Choi.
There it is, board and pass. We'll see you later. Peace! Boarding Pass is brought to you by IYMS Films, available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed today's chat, please share, subscribe, like, and review. We definitely want to hear your feedback, and we always appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time.